We used print function in all our sessions till now. In general, print is used to write data to the standard output. Like, for example, print I'm learning Python. This produces the result on your standard screen. When we write any program, inputs are mandatory. There are hardly any program without any input. There are various ways to feed inputs to a program. So one of the common thing is feeding them from keyboard. So Python provides a function called input. When the input function is called, the program flow will be stopped until user enters the data and press return key. The user data will be returned as a string to the program. Let's see an example. We want to get username, then we want to print that. Now we'll collect the name into name variable from input function. What is your name? Then we will print it on the console. Print your name is, comma, name. When we run this, the program is prompting for user data here. So Natraj, and when you press return key, it is started executing next set of lines. Now you can notice that the user input has been printed here. So let's take another input in the same program. We want to get user age, input. What is your age? Print your age is, comma, age. When you run this, first it will ask for the name, then it asks for our age, then the program will terminate. Since I'm using Jupyter Notebook here, we will copy this code to a file and run this on Python command prompt and see the result. I'm going to store data into a file, input test.py. I'm saving the same code which we have seen on Jupyter Notebook. Then I'm going to run this Python input test. When we run this, it is prompting for user input and then age. So this is how it will be on command prompt. Remember that the input method returns only a string format. Based on our need, we need to do typecasting. Now let's take this age and see what type it returns. So now type age. When we run this, 35, it's a string. Now we need to convert into int. So now we are getting int type. So what if I'm providing a list as an input? Still, the input return it as a string. Let's see an example. Now we want to get all developers name. Developers equal to input get all dev names. Now let's see the type. Developers. When you run this, now I'll provide the input in list format. But the type is string. How can we receive it in a list format? We need to use a eval function. Based on the expression, it converts it into the list. So now I use the same input which I have given. Now if you notice, it's in list format. There is another way to pass inputs to the program through command line arguments. While invoking Python program, we pass additional arguments. These arguments are passed to the program. Something like, let's say while running Python, file name my pro.py and input 1, input 2, input 3. So these are called command line arguments. These three will be passed to the program. Remember that the space will separate the inputs. So we are passing two inputs here. If I remove one, so now we have two inputs here. We can use sysmodule to get read command line arguments. Let's try a couple of examples. We'll write it in Python command prompt. Test.py. First import sysmodule. Import sys. So what we do here, we'll find length of input arguments. Print argument length, comma, length of sys.argv. Argv will provide you the details inputs from the command line. So now we'll write a loop, iterate through sys.argv and print them on console. For I in range length of sys.argv print since it's an array, we need to use index. Write it. Now we'll test it. Python test.py. My inputs are 1, 2, 3. When you run it, total argument length is 4, and always the first one will be the file name. So anytime we need to ignore the first one, that is index 0, proceed with index 1 onwards. Now you can access this with index 1, index 2, index 3. So this is about passing inputs from the keyboard. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel.